Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It's Serial Senpai here, and today we're going to be discussing Mushoku Tensei Episode 2. And just to get out the way, this episode is honestly, it's bittersweet. We got Roxy last episode, and now we lost Roxy again. It sucks, it was sad, but you know what? It was something that honestly, I can't say we saw it coming. We see it coming because most shows usually have Roxy or like a person like Roxy stay with them for a bit, like maybe like 2 or 3 episodes, instead of just like an episode in a few minutes. But we got a full arc with that. Basically, we got a full story. It didn't feel rushed, at least to me at least, and it didn't feel like it cut any corners. And as someone that read the light novel series, they adapted it really well. They skipped some things, nothing that impacted like her character though, which was really good. But so far, it was a good episode. And before I get more sentimental with it, let's just begin and talk about what was skipped and what I thought was really good so far. And just to start us off, right when the episode was starting with what I talked about last episode and what the anime skipped in the first episode about his backstory. I didn't go into too much detail like I did when I talked about it, but I got the general gist of it of how like skipped his parents' funerals, beat his meat, masturbate, and then got kicked out, and then he died trying to save three high schoolers. He saved one, but the other two we don't know what happened to them. And here we got basically after that we got some horniness between not just his parents but to his shisho, Roxy. And honestly, it was pretty funny. Like they adapted that scene really comical, as weird as this is saying. But the next scene they also got well. Basically, when Roxy was giving the lessons about the spurps, they really adapted. They didn't skip it. I think it was unnecessary. I like how they actually gave a description of it, of how they made it. They made them sound like how Rudy said, like an old folk story of like, oh my god, vicious monsters will eat you if you don't go to bed. And it was really well. It was really well done. But there's one thing here they did skip. It's a little bit like I said last episode. There's a lot of lore building, world building that usually skipped, just because it adds a lot. It's not a lot of dense material. And here, Rudy also asked Roxy about why are only spells made for combat, and basically Roxy explains that in this world, spells that humans use were copied from high elves, and that the high elves made the spells basically to deal with the chaos at the time, and that was thousands of years ago. Like this is before where how Roxy said that superbs were part of like Lapis's army. This was before that human demon war. So it was a long time ago. And let me see what else. We also skipped like a small explanation between the difference between fiends and monsters. Basically, we heard about first episode when Paul was talking about monsters. We didn't get much details about it. And today, the main difference between both of them, they're both dangerous. They both kill. Monsters are basically animals that have mutated due to like magic, mana. And fiends are monsters that grow in numbers, then establish themselves as a new species and gain intelligence. And however, after a bit, they can go back down to becoming monsters if they start becoming like animals again, beast-like instincts take over, and whatnot. We also skipped the part about Roxy. This part about Roxy is something that's in a sense important, but it doesn't impact the story right now. Basically, we skip that she is from Midgard, which from the Begoya region, that's on the Demon Continent. And that's just that. That's basically the only thing about Roxy they skipped. I'm pretty sure they'll probably hit at it later, but just in case they don't, I want to let you guys know now. And after that, we go to the scene basically where Rudy is now training for 6 months now, and he is 4 years old at this point. And it's the scene where we see him use dual elements, the wind and fire. And basically, after that scene, we also get that more details on his trauma. Basically, from what I talked about in the first episode, more details on how he doesn't like going outside because his classmates bullied him. And as I talked before, or you saw in the episode, how they stripped him naked, tied him up and just took pictures of him and spread it out around the school. Poor guy. It really, it affects someone. It affects anyone if that happened to happen to you. It would suck. It would make sense why he would become a recluse and whatnot. After this, Roxy starts talking about the Runa University, how it's a great place to learn magic, and how Rudy could learn a lot about it. He could improve his magic, but of course he's still scared of the outside world, so he just wants Roxy to teach him. But Roxy, as we saw, told him not to call her master because Rudy will surpass her one day, if not soon. As we saw so far, he reached her level by the end of the episode and whatnot. After this, we go into the scene about birthdays. Rudy is now 5 years old. And in this world, they celebrate mainly the first 3 birthdays, which is basically when they're 5, when they're 10, and finally when they're 15, which is when they are an adult. And according to Rudy, basically this is a world that celebrates birthdays yearly. So if they do, it's like a regular thing, nothing major. But the 5, 10, and 15, those are the main important ones because 15 is when they're an adult. I assume 5 is when they're like a strong boy, and 10 is when they're like a teen. And from this, Rudy gets his first wand from Roxy. And this is basically like, I think in the light novel it covered how the wands are given by their masters to students once they master beginner magic. As we see, Rudy's already like advanced at this point, so Roxy's a little late, but she tells him that. But yeah, it doesn't affect him much. But he got wand, so now he's a wizard now. But yeah, after that, this is where there's a big change in the timeline, in a sense, because after this scene where he gets his wand, that's when Roxy tells Rudy like, oh yeah, you're gonna graduate. Your end of graduation exam is tomorrow, basically next days or so. In the light novel, however, we skip something in my opinion is important. It doesn't affect Rudy in a sense, but it affects the lore of the story. And they skipped basically the 3 different sword styles, the 3 primary schools of the sword. And basically they're Water God style, North God style, and Sword God style. Water God style is basically it's a style that focuses on warding off strikes and countering, being that a master could counter basically, unlike in this world where masters can only counter basically sword attacks. In that world with Water God style, masters can counter projectile attacks and magic attacks. So basically, even if they use like Rudy, basically using that fire spell or water or that water bullet, whatever he's using, they'll be able to counter it no matter what, if it's a true master of the Water God style. After that, we get North God style, which is basically less of a sword style, but more of a way, like Paul says in the book, that's more of basically a way people use a sword. So it's basic, instead of it being like an actual school, it's a way that it's a sword style that uses underhanded tricks and different techniques to use. So basically, people throwing their swords, people using their swords as distraction to kill the person. It doesn't use a sword as the main weapon. It uses the sword as a tool of their fighting style. Next, we got Sword God style, which is basically talking about how the best defense is also the best offense, and it uses high speed moves with the goals of striking the opponent first and beating them in one blow. Of course, most Sword God style users can just beat the opponent like that first move, and they're done. And some comparison that the light novel came to was basically the Sword God resembles Satsuma Jigen Ryu, and North God styles resemble a sword wielding version of Jackie Chan, like the way he fights one. But imagine that with a sword. Paul is basically can use all 3 styles. He's chiefly practiced the Sword God style with the mix of Water God and North God style. It has the same ranking as Magic, so it has beginner, intermediate, advanced, saintly, kingly, imperial, and divine. Paul wants to teach Rudy the style he's teaching Rudy that we see in the anime is basically Sword God style and Water God style, and says, like I said before, that North God style isn't even a form of fighting. It's just a way of using the sword. And after that scene in the light novel, that's when we get to the part where we talk about like his past like traumas and everything. But as we saw before, it sucks. However, due to Roxy being there for him, he was able to get over it. And after this, that's when we talk about him getting over it, actually. How Roxy pushes him and gets him on the horse and takes him outside the house. And due to this, Rudy, in my opinion, this shows that Rudy is now, in a sense, he's conquered his trauma. After, like, he's what, he was in his 30s now? No, he's in almost his 40s mentally. And he was able to conquer the trauma of not being able to go outside. And Roxy doesn't like intentionally show him, but Rudy sees that people, they aren't mean, they aren't rude, they aren't malicious, they're kind. At least in the village he's in, they're kind and they're nice. They didn't look at him and discuss like, oh, who's this kid? They're like, oh, hey there, boy, saying good morning, Roxy, or hey, Roxy, and Rudy's like, oh, cool. People aren't like the old world. This world, they're actually pretty cool. You know, it was people are actually pretty cool. You know, it was peaceful for him, and it's pretty good. That's really good for him. And after that, we get in the line out, we learn that Roxy's been there 2 years, and Rudy, as he's like in the light novel, we learned that Roxy has been making friends with every single person there. Everyone knows her, everyone's friendly with her. And to Rudy, this is amazing to him because in the beginning of the episode, Roxy talks about how like some people might look down on her because she's a demon because of the hair, and Rudy acknowledges how like even though she might have faced prejudice, she still became one with the village. Like she made herself look at home with the villagers, and Rudy found that like amazing to be able to do that in just the 2 years that she was there. And after this scene, that's when we get the exam. We get the exam of Rudy using a Saint class spell that Roxy's going to show him. And boy, it was a spell, if I'm being honest. It was so, like, it was almost a hurricane, in my opinion. Like, Roxy had that thunderstorm type spell. Same thing as Rudy did, Nimbus. But Rudy, with his whatever he did, he made it so it was basically like a hurricane at that point. Like it was just like, going everywhere. Like everything was being destroyed. The winds definitely would have like if he got carried away by Roxy's spell, if he wasn't casting the spell and someone else was, he probably would have been blown away, blown like a dirt in the wind, and that's it. And after that, we get his ceremony. How he is now a Saint class water magician. And it's bittersweet because that means good because, hey, Saint class, he's up there, an amazing magician. It's bittersweet because now Roxy, like says, she has nothing left to teach him. And Roxy is now leaving because now she herself wants to get, in a sense, stronger. She wants to learn more, become more knowledgeable in her arts, to become a better magician, so that Rudy can, in a sense, be one step behind at least. At least that's what I think. And this is where we get the sad departure of her saying goodbye to Rudy and the family. It shows, and also them offering like, Roxy, you can stay as long as you want. It shows us how loved she is by everybody, not just Rudy, but by Paul and Zenith. And it was really cute. It was really cute. After that, we see Roxy give Rudy her hometown necklace. A little Midgard like necklace and whatnot. And seems for Rudy, he's gonna keep it forever. It's a treasure for him. He's never gonna get rid of it. And it seems like he's gonna wear it for a long time too. He's gonna wear it for a bit. After that, Roxy leaves, and Rudy's saying his goodbye, giving his thanks for not only teaching him magic, but also bringing him outside, giving him that, inadvertently, giving him that push to go outside and walk around and to basically be free from his trauma, from the chains that binded him down. And now he can move on with his life. He can do what he actually wants to do without looking back. And that's how this episode ends. And it was a good manner. It was really good. But wait, we also learned that he stole Roxy's panties. And it's funny. It's what we expected. And this is so similar to the light novel. This is exactly the same. He stole the panties and got caught by Lydia. It's so cute. And after that, we go to the outro, the first outro of the season for the show, and we see two other girls, one with green hair and one with red hair. So, who are they? We don't know. We'll see. And I'm curious. I'm really curious how they're going to adapt. But, and yeah, that was the end of the episode. Really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Like I said earlier, it was well adapted. They got the important scenes in and they adapted those really, really well. Voice acting top notch. The animation's great. The way they showed the spell was amazing. They didn't hold back for that. That's for sure. And we got a lot of good interactions. Sadly, Roxy left, but we know she's gonna get better. That's the good part about it. And yeah, that was episode 2. If you like what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to keep seeing more, hit the subscribe button. I'll be sure to upload episode 3, 4, 5, and 6 soon. And if you have anything to say, hit the comments down below. I'll be sure to respond back. Anything else? Thanks for watching. Zero Senpai out.